Where does our water come from? What might put our water at risk? And what is involved in making sure our water is safe to drink?
Bonnington is a small community of about 150 households just outside of Nelson, BC. It has water restrictions that limit how much water each household can use.
Why do we need water restrictions? Does this mean our water might run out at some point? These are the questions we want to explore.
We are the Bonnington Youth Green Team, which is 11 kids ages 12 to 15 years.
We have spent the summer of 2011 researching local environmental issues and sharing what we have learned with our neighbors. Through this film, we'll tell the story of our water, the work that some dedicated people in our community do to ensure we have good, clean water to use, and what all of us need to do to respect our water resource, which we share with other species that also depend on it.
Like most Canadians, residents of Bonnington probably don't give much thought to where their water comes from and what is required to have clean water flow out of the tap. We just turn on the tap and water appears.
The Green Team decided to find out where our water comes from. A group of us walked up to the Rockside Lake, the headwaters to Falls Creek. A lot of us were surprised to find out how big the lake is.
The lake is surrounded by thick forests and high ridges. These features direct the rainwater and melting snow into the lake.
We walked around the lake to the start of Falls Creek. Although we were surprised at how big the lake was, we were really surprised at how small the start of the creek is.
On August 1st, my dad and I walked down the whole length of Falls Creek. It took 9 hours. We started at Rockslide Lake and ended up at Bonnington Water Intake. Climbing was very hard. There was lots of alders and devil's club lining the creek. Up from the creek, there was also lots of fallen trees and loose steep slopes that we had to climb across. There used to be a logging road and a bridge going across the creek. The bridge collapsed and made the water jump the bank onto the road. Now, every spring, the water runs down the road and washes silt and stuff into the water.
This was an old bridge that the wood cutting people used to use to take all the logs back and cut them down, but then it rummed up the whole river and they had to cut it through.
At the end of his trip, I asked Saul what he thought of his day-long journey down the creek.
I have decided I will never do that again. It was terrible.
The creek continues to the spot where we have 6 pipes buried beneath the creek bed. These pipes have tiny slits in them that allow the creek water to flow through and fill large holding tanks.
They don't have any way of flushing
We have 2 tanks in total that are in use. The first one holds up to 60,000 gallons of water. This is the tank used to treat the water with chlorine. The water then flows downhill into a 100,000 gallon holding tank.
It's called a hypochlorinator. Hypo means water. Okay? A water chlorinator. what this does...
The Bonnington Improvement District uses varying amounts of water depending on the season. During the winter months, on average, we use 40,000 gallons per day. During the summer, this amount increases dramatically. It can average between 160,000 gallons and 200,000 gallons per day.
10 days we were using 162,000 gallons a day. So, which is a 60,000 gallon tank. The other one is the same as, very similar to this one, and it's 100,000 gallons. So that's emptying this completely, the whole system completely in one day. That's a lot of water for 140 people. That's everybody using about 1,300 gallons of water a day.
That means that on some days we use more water than we can store. Because of higher water demands in the summer, we can go through 6 times as much chlorine as we do in the winter. If we cut back on our water consumption, it would directly affect how much we pay for chlorination.
Dave, on average, how long does it take to go through that tank of chlorine?
Okay, in the winter time, it would take about 2 months. In the summertime, let's just see, what did it take here? On July 27th to August 6th, so that's 10 days, gone. 10 days, gone.
Okay, so what can you do to help? If we all follow the water restrictions, there will be enough water for everyone. Remember, no more than 3 sprinklers or 2 taps on at the same time, and only with a 1/2 inch diameter. Don't water any more than 3 hours per day. Water on even days when your fire number is an even number, and on odd days when it is an odd number. Don't water during the daytime between 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. If you want to water by hand, you can water at any time. The Green Team thanks everyone for their support.